Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
And what is up, you guys? The New York Mets getting off of the schneid. They get a 12-6 win over the Giants after a brutal loss last night. They snap a 4-game losing streak. Wow. They needed this one. They really did. In so many different ways. They get a breakout performance from the lineup, something that we just have not seen from them, and it feels like forever. And more importantly, they get it from the big guys at the top of the order, which I've been talking about for so long, which all of us as Mets fans have been talking about for so long, that we haven't been getting production out of Francisco Lindor, Brandon Nimmo, Pete Alonso, Juan Soto. Well, today, at least 3 of those 4 all with huge afternoons for the Mets. Pete Alonso starting things off with the 3-run homer in the first inning. The Mets end up giving the lead back to the Giants, but thanks to Brandon Nimmo and to Francisco Lindor with a couple RBI knocks for themselves, the Mets take the lead back and then some as they coast to a 12-6 victory. Guys, what's up? I'm Tony Metro. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. I do daily Mets content, post-game recap after every single Mets game. I missed yesterday, guys. I'm going to be just totally honest. I was so frustrated by Friday night's Mets and Giants game. I said I can't do it. I just can't do it after the Mets couldn't score a run in the bottom of the 10th inning after former Met, of all the former Mets, Dom Smith, with the game-winning hit in the top of the 10th inning. You've got to be kidding me. So I just couldn't do it last night, guys. I hope you forgive me, but otherwise, daily Mets post-game recaps on this channel here. So be sure to leave this video a like. Goes a long way toward helping out the channel. Really appreciate it. You guys can also follow me on all the other platforms, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Links to all of those are in the description of this video down below. Let's go over to the chat. The Baseball Pierce Mets win. LFGM. What's up, the Baseball Pierce? How you doing, man? Thank goodness. Like I said, not a very impressive performance from Senga. As you said, he said Senga not giving volume. Montas probably not giving innings tomorrow. Thank God we got a new bullpen, 100%. This is the luxury that Carlos Mendoza and the Mets now have, that they were able to revamp this bullpen the way that they did. David Stearns did such a good job of bringing in not 1, not 2, but 3 ultra effective relievers. And on top of that, getting Brooks Raley back, coming off of his rehab from Tommy John surgery. This is a totally different bullpen where we see Reed Garrett pitching in the 5th inning today in what was, I believe at that time, a 4-3 ball game in favor of the Mets. But I said this on the streams. I think it would have been after the Mets loss against the Padres on Wednesday after they got swept. But it was right on the heels of the Mets trading for Rodgers, and while I was doing that stream when they acquired Ryan Helsley from the Cardinals, that we are going to see all of the guys kind of bump down a spot in the pecking order in terms of Reed Garrett, Ryan Stanek, in terms of Oscar Brosbaum when he ends up returning. He's going to be the long relief guy. So adding those other guys to this bullpen has just deepened this group by so much. And to see Reed Garrett coming in the 5th inning, I mean, like, that's awesome. And there's still chances that he'll pitch in the 7th, 8th, and even the 9th inning like he has throughout this season so far, because he's proven he can do that. But to have a guy like that pitching in the 5th inning of a close game, wow, that is just a really nice ace to have in your back pocket for the Mets. So, guys, let's get into the recap here. Really good game for the Mets overall. They win 12-6. Let me share my screen with you guys over here. I did not get a chance to download all the highlights, unfortunately, but you should be able to see my... No, wait, there we go. Okay, I always press the wrong one when I go to that. But here is tomorrow's game, which is not what we want to do quite yet, but it will be Frankie Montas taking on Wisenhunt, who has a 7.20 ERA. I'm sure the Mets will get shut out for 6 innings against him, because that's how it goes with the Mets, right? Tell me I'm wrong. We'll spot the lie, right? Let's go over to today's recap, though. The Mets do jump back into first place today as the Phillies lose to the Tigers. So good news on that front. The Mets are back in first place by a half a game. So love to see that. Let's go. Guys, I'm trying here. I don't know what the hell is going on with my brain, but I'm trying to get to the recap of today. Here we go. Finally. Geez. So the Mets improved to 63-48. So 15 games over 500. Obviously they had the 7-game winning streak last week, and then they followed up with a 4-game losing streak, including last night's loss. But glad to see them get off of that schneid here. And a big part of it was Pete Alonso hitting a 3-run homer to cap to start things off here in the first inning. And from there, I'm thinking, wow, this could be a laugher of a game. The Mets might just go on and take this one with no problems at all. But in typical Mets fashion, not the case, because you're thinking with Kodai Senga pitching, okay, we got this, no problem. But obviously not the case, because the very next half inning, the Giants score a run. And then in the third inning, it was Dom Smith once again hitting a big hit against his former team, a 2-run shot that just gets out over the right field wall to make it 3-3. And then in the third inning, or the fourth inning rather, the Giants come back, score another run to make it 4-3. And I was beside myself thinking, wow, we're really going to go on a 5-game losing streak, and we're totally going to blow this opportunity to beat a Giants team that was just selling at the deadline. But the Mets come right back in the bottom of the fourth with 2 runs of their own, thanks to Brandon Nimmo. You get the bunt single from Francisco Lindor in the 6th, another RBI hit from Nimmo in the 6th, and then another RBI knock from Nimmo later. He has 3 separate run-scoring hits in this game. Huge day for Brandon Nimmo. For Francisco Lindor, the Mets scored 2 in the 6th, 4 in the 7th, and add on another in the 8th. That's a 2-run shot off of Rico Garcia in the 9th inning. Whatever, who cares? But in the end, it totals up to a 12-6 win for the New York Mets. And again, they get back into first place with the Phillies dropping their game to the Detroit Tigers. So very, very good news on all fronts for the Mets today. Yesterday was a really tough game, but glad to see they were able to jump back in. Yeah, the Baseball Pier says Phillies lose, Mets back at first place. So really, really happy to see it. But let's jump through the box score really quick. Let's take a look at what everybody did. So, like I said, Brandon Nimmo, 3 separate RBI hits. So he goes 3 for 4, all of them bringing runs across. I mean, Nimmo has just been like probably the most consistent guy in this lineup all year long, outside of that kind of like April and March and April kind of part of the season, the first month and a half or so where Nimmo was struggling. But since then, Nimmo's been the most consistent guy in this lineup. He finishes 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs. His batting average on the year is now up to 260. OPS to 781. You'll take that every day, all days from Brandon Nimmo. And then finally, Francisco Lindor needed this game like no other. 3 hits. He goes 3 for 4 just like Nimmo did, drives in 4 runs. He also draws a walk, brings his batting average up to 251 and 750. I mean, guys, we've been talking about it for a while now. Francisco Lindor has been hitting under 200 for the last 2 months. And we know this lineup goes as Francisco Lindor goes. When Francisco Lindor is cold, it seems like this entire Mets lineup goes into a funk. So hopefully, fingers crossed, this is the beginning of a turnaround for Francisco Lindor. And the same could be said for these other 2 guys, Juan Soto and Pete Alonso. Soto only goes 1 for 5 in this one. He has definitely been slumping. The average has dropped down to 247. The OPS down to 863. We're hoping that's more in like the 270 range and like 900, 940 range, somewhere between there for Soto. Not a huge day for him, but nice to see him get a base hit, especially after coming up small in the bases loaded, in the 10th inning yesterday with the ghost runner aboard. The bases had not been loaded yet at that point. But Pete Alonso was also not productive in last night's extra innings, but today, very effective. 2 for 4. One of those hits being the 3-run homer out to left center field. That is his 24th home run of the season, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check, guys, while I'm 24 home runs for Pete Alonso, correct. He has 3 RBIs on the game. He also draws a walk, and that is number 250 for Pete Alonso. So Pete has made it 250 home runs for his career, obviously all of them coming with the Mets. So he is now just 3 away from tying Darryl Strawberry's record? I think it's 3 away from Darryl Strawberry's record. And let me check really quick, guys, while I'm here. Kodai Senga is speaking to the media right now. So not that we're going to gloss over it. We're going to definitely get into it. But Kodai Senga, over his last 3 starts, an 8.25 earned run average. So it has not been great for Senga. He had a up and down, I guess you could say, kind of middle of the road type of start when he returned from the injured list against Kansas City right before the All-Star break. He got into trouble in that one, but ended up only getting tagged for 1 run, I believe, over 4 innings. And actually, I don't even think he gave up a run, but regardless, 8.25 2.25 ERA for Senga over the last 3 innings, and obviously today was not a very impressive start for him. He ends up lasting just 4 innings. He gives up 4 runs on 5 hits and 3 walks. He gives up the home run, and his ERA jumps up to 2.31 for the season. A lot of games, but I don't know if it's even a funk that you could call it anymore. I mean, you can't hit 220 or what is with 4 months and just boo the Mets off, but that's able to win back and have on so many games throughout 2025. Something if you ask me, I mean, if the season, if the Mets were in the playoff there, I'm probably going with a 1-2-3 of Senga, top 3 in the rotation. But I don't know what's happening here, guys. This poorly. It's now in the chat. How you feeling about it today? How you feeling about that? They snapped the 4-game lose, jump in for place. Performance from, but more importantly, a good performance from the top big boppers in the lineup with Pete Lindor and Braden. Stream is having such a difficult time here. I'm gonna catch all my new content that I'll be posting here later tonight on TikTok and here on YouTube, obviously, so you can watch it here. But